Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on today's webinar, Managing Cloud Hosting, the Future of Your Practice Data. My name is Nicole Scheid, and I'll be your host for this session. Throughout the webinar, you can submit any questions throughout the Q&A panel in the WebEx window, and we'll address all questions at the end. So I will now pass it over to Daniel Emig, our Vice President of Hosting Cloud Technology here at NextGen, who will kick us off with speaker introductions.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the seminar. I will go ahead and do quick speaker introductions, and then we'll go ahead and jump into some of the material. It will be a bit of a what I'll call fireside chat format, interactive with amongst the panel. Questions, it'll be opened up to questions at the end. We can get into whatever kind of conversations you'd like to at that point. And with that, I'll introduce myself. My name is Dan Emig. I'm the Vice President of Hosting Operations here at NextGen. So ultimately run all of our infrastructure around hosting. Troy?
Thanks, Dan. Troy Lang. I'm account executive here at NextGen. Been here for about 5 years. TOA has been kind enough to partner with us to do this webinar and talk about their experiences. They have been my client for 5 years since I've been here, so I've been blessed to have them. So I'll let Wayne introduce himself from TOA.
Troy, I think Wayne's still trying to get back in to the event.
Technical difficulty?
Yep, so let's go ahead and go to Paula for introduction.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan. Hi, my name is Paula Batoy. I am the Application and Analytics Manager at Tennessee Orthopaedic Alliance. I have been working with TOA for more than 5 years now. I handle most of the technical aspect, workflows, interfaces, servers, SQL environment, dashboards, all those things with TOA.
Super. Thanks, Balav.
So with that, I'll go ahead and just give a backdrop here, and then we'll go into some discussion points among the panelists. And from a background point of view, for those you who are not aware, we do all of our deployments at Amazon Web Services. So the anything we'll be talking about will be based on our Amazon-based offerings. And as we've been doing this, we've been NextGen Enterprise at Amazon for about 6 years now. And we used to have a lot of customers in other environments. We consolidated everything at Amazon. And at this point, we have nearly half of our customers running in our hosted environments. A lot of other customers are looking to move there currently. And as we go through some of the discussion points, we'll hit on what are some of the key reasons customers move there, value points, et cetera. And we are having a bit of a difficulty getting one of our panelists onto the event here. So, Paula, we may have you go ahead and answer some of the things that we had targeted for Wayne. And I can add the additional commentary. So with that, Paula, do you mind giving just a little bit of background on TOA, what the function is of the organization, kind of your size and scale, just any background would be helpful so that folks on this call have context as to what TOA is about.
Sure. Tennessee Orthopaedic Alliance is one of the largest orthopedics in Middle Tennessee. So I think Wayne had joined the conversation, but yeah, let me give a little bit and then I'll hand over to him. We have around more than 100 physicians who are currently practicing for TOA, including TOC and NTBJ, the other ancillary departments that we have merged with. We have around 21 clinics in Nashville, one in Columbia, and then around 10 of them in Knoxville.
Right.
I'll hand it to Wayne, and then he can continue
Sure.
and give more details.
And
do
Wayne, if you
apologize.
could do a quick introduction to yourself as well.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. I had to switch to another computer. Don't know what happens. So Wayne, my name is Wayne Easterwood. I'm the Chief Information Officer for Tennessee Orthopaedic Alliance. And as Pallav was saying, we're 3 divisions of approximately 100 physicians. We're physician owned, and in the Middle Tennessee and Knoxville area. As Pallav said, we're about 32 sites total. And that's really comprised of Middle Tennessee in the Nashville area, Columbia just south of Nashville in the Knoxville area. And we are currently a merged entity from 3 smaller practices, and in the process of really bringing operations together as we find economies of scale, as we find opportunities, and of which obviously we are NextGen customers, and all 3 divisions were previously NextGen customers, and some of them quite a long time. So it's an exciting time to be part of this. And in addition to merging the practices, we're also going through some of the technology changes with our electronic health record, as well as just infrastructure. So hope that's good enough there, Dan. And again, apologize for the technical difficulties.
No worries. We appreciate you joining. And thank you, Wayne, for providing that background. Troy, I believe you have a couple of questions that you'd like to run by Wayne just to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Articulate.
Yeah. So, Wayne, what would you say, like, one of the greatest, benefits that TOA, has experienced, by utilizing the hosting, platform from NextGen?
Sure. Really I think the word is stability and reliance. We'll just kind of focus that on stability for us. We had a team that worked really hard to, walk in every day and make sure our clinics were running and operational. But we ran into times that, it would go down, it would get slow, it would, and Pallav and some of the other team, had to spring into motion and figure out what's going on and fix it, and really to keep those doctors working and productive, and not disrupt the clinic flow. And since our shift to hosted environment, it's just been stable. It's just we don't have those surprise slowdowns, outages, and there's a variety of reasons, and it was very layered. But all in all, it's become a real foundation and a reliance. And every time we say this, I'm telling you, you mentioned this in a meeting and we're all knocking on wood, because we're surprised. We're surprised how consistent the delivery is, and we've kind of forgotten the way it used to be. So, yeah.
No, that's great. And I think you kind of mentioned something in when you were doing your introduction. Obviously, you, me, Pallav, Heather, and all the other ones have been working on a lot of projects, this last year, and the business is changing, obviously, with the merging of the practices. Before we did the merging of the practices, we had to get everybody upgraded to Spring 21. In those instances and others, how has hosting, helped in those situations?
Yeah. I've been doing this for a while. About 30 years I've been in healthcare, and a good chunk of those years I was with organizations that were growing. Lots of them organic, lots of emerging, and the finesse of timing your purchases and the needs and contracts with your growth has always been a dance. So we find ourselves at TOA in the process of not only growing organically, we're adding docs, and which we're growing clinics and rebuilding clinics, but we're also merging practices together. And what the hosted environment has allowed us to do is really do a couple of things. One is I don't have to buy for the future. I don't have to I don't have to go to my board multiple times, and it's like I'm buying a service, and that service has expandability and has agility. And whether that's in my database layer, my infrastructure layer, my software layer, there's just some things that my team don't have to worry about or think about because the path is already set and I can reliably know that it's available as I need it. And of course, the process that we're going through now is taking our 3 NextGen instances and merging those together. It's an unknown for us. It's the first of a kind for us to go through that kind of project. It just from the infrastructure side and the hosting. But NextGen, you guys have done this a few times, and so we can lean on you to know what that path is like, and to be able to be not hands off, but be very much a part of it, and have a very flexible bench on NextGen's team to actually help us through that process.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and thanks, Wayne. I know one of the things we discussed recently, as you've been growing, you were looking at all these clinics. You thought it would be, I remember being on the call with you. I think we caught you by surprise how easy it was. You were thinking you had to jump through hoops around a lot of the capacity stuff and everything else. And as it turned out, we had the call, and really it just comes down to contract for more users, and we take care of the rest, right?
Yeah, and I
the
think
storage, the database, everything. Yeah, we package into that per user pricing.
Right, and to put the color to that, whether it's I need some more terminal servers, or whether it's, I'm hitting a threshold on memory on machines, or a standard versus enterprise SQL server, or whatever the layer is. I acknowledge I was surprised. Your head nodded, and I was bracing for a negotiation, and your head just nodded. Okay, okay, this was a shorter call than I thought.
And it is and Wayne, you haven't had to experience this, but just to share with the audience here, one of the other dynamics is we also have the agility if something happens and customers shrink, right? Since it's per user pricing, if somebody's you have, if I remember right, Wayne, currently if 600-700 users, you're going to be well over 1,000 soon. As you look at, a lot of people though shrink. They sell off practices. We have a lot of PE firms that constantly buy and sell practices. And through that whole dynamic, we can also shrink quickly. So you don't have all those sunk capital costs. You just say, hey, I'd like to change my user count from 500 to 300, and we can make those adjustments because ultimately we're working with Amazon to pay by the hour for our capacity. And so it's no big deal for us to go ahead and make those constant adjustments as customer volumes change. And that's part of the whole agility that you mentioned, is kind of being agile along with you as your business changes.
Yeah.
Paul, I'd like to ask you something here. Clearly, Paul, I've known you for a number of years. You've been both a leader, strong hands-on technician for the organization throughout that time period. And point of view, what do you see as some of the key benefits at a technical level versus the I'll say more business level we've been talking to Wayne about so far?
Some of the benefits that I see are like NextGen does a couple of updates for us. Like if a mid update comes in or formulary updates comes in, then they just open a ticket on my name. I get an update on when they are doing it. And if the July mid formulary comes in, and by August, it's already done for us. So I don't have to worry about if those have to be done or not. Like the other things that I see really beneficial is when we do upgrades, I just open ticket. They will do the database copy for me from prod to test. They provide us with project management. That's been the greatest help for us. And the couple of upgrades that we have done after I have joined TOA, it has gone smoothly. And like we just did a spring release for one of the division last month, and it was a great success. And it was a really everybody had a very good positive reviews on this. Was the good upgrade that we had because NextGen provided with all the project managers on this part of the object. So
Right.
yeah, those are the benefits that I see. And in terms of getting, like, for me, I need more data, looking into those kind of things. So I have all the admin access that NextGen has provided, so I can go back and run, write or modify stroke proc or create views for me on how I want it. We have a direct trust, so I can link SQL into our environment too and extract and put it into our data warehouse, so those kind of things. So it is very seamless on what we used to have and what we have now.
You feel you've lost control of key things that you need to do? You hit on a number of things there, right? Around being able to store procedures, access to the data. From an access control point of view, do you feel like you've given up things that you feel you have to have in order to be successful?
No, not as far as the things that I need on a daily basis that I need to perform. There is nothing that I have lost where I have to go to NextGen and get those things for. Like, let's say if I have to go back and modify interfaces, I have admin access to that. Like BBP needs admin access, so I have admin access on those. Fax managers, and NCS server, any kind of ancillary things that NextGen uses and that need admin access, I do have access to those, and I can go back and start as needed. So I have not lost any access that I need to function.
Very good. No, appreciate the perspectives. You also mentioned, we do formulary ICD-10. Again, for probably the sake of the audience here, we do take care of all the med and formulary updates as part of the hosting base package. And along with that, we still, though, allow, and we push those out as they become available. At the same time, we do allow for customers to still determine when they want version upgrades, release upgrades, hot fixes. Customers have control of saying, I want it in test on this date, I want it in prod on that date. And so, there's all that collaboration. And a clear capability we've really made a point to build into the offering of late is the whole concept of control and making sure that customers have the control that they feel they need in order to be successful at supporting their users and not limiting. What I would say is, years ago, we used to say, don't worry about it, we take everything for you, we're not going to give you access to anything. We have fundamentally flipped the script on that and give tremendous amounts of control to the customers. And in fact, depending on how much control you want, it helps lower the fees. We go so far as that, right? Because you're reducing our labor if you want to do some of the stuff yourself, while still getting all the benefits of the offering. And one of the benefits we haven't hit on yet is risk management, which is a big driver of why a lot of customers go ahead and purchase the hosting services. They've had ransomware issues, hacker issues, disaster recovery problems, a whole multitude of things. Wayne, anything you would, you're pretty experienced CIO. You've probably seen a lot go on in your career. From a risk management point of view, what do you see as the benefits?
Well, often we see ourselves as terminally unique, and we think we're all really special, and we got to keep our hands on the knobs. And from a risk perspective, whether that's about keeping systems up and running, or whether that's about really managing access, both are usually benefited from division of duties and allocating access. And this is a good approach to move things away. So it requires some change control before you start twisting knobs. Now, that also means you've got some layers of protection between a bad actor and your team. So For us, it sort of creates the gap and the separation that is healthy. I think in a well-run IT idle focused organization. Then it really is on you, NextGen, to keep the certifications up, keep your high trust. I don't have to rise above and get some experts on how to keep that side of it. So I've been able to outsource to you, a trusted partner, the responsibility of keeping those portions up and running. And keeping the certifications and making sure that you've got that. Then I'm doing my access control on my teams, and it is something I'm willing to offload because it is something very important, and it's expensive for me to maintain the kind of protections that I need on my team.
So you're saying is you don't miss the days of running data centers.
Oh, I don't. I mean, as fun as it is, and as many people as I've worked with and had and got excited, I have been committed to getting out of the data center business for about 20 years. And it's again, it's the things that are commodity. And I'll say it this way: when you think about the four quadrant matrix of strategy and tactical and commodity and specialization, and that being a four quadrant area, and you start moving the things into those, you find out that there are some real tactical common things that you probably ought to outsource, and your team probably ought to do the strategic and special things that is part of keeping your business running. And I think hosting data centers are not part of that.
Right.
It's why the AWSs and the Azures live, because they've been able to define it. And I think that's a wise move. When I think about the downtime that we used to have, and sort of you take the data center question, and we'd get the phone calls that say it's getting slow. We'd all spin our chairs to Palav and say, "Go look and see," and we'd look at the our network people, go look and see, and the person you're asking to go look and see and it gets the answers is also the person that you're waiting to fix it, okay, or waiting to discover it. And now I've got a bench of people that I can do that with, and I've got some folks that are watching it more than Palav can watch on his own. So I'm happy to be out of the data center business. I'm happy to have the watching and control that we have. And I think it is a more healthy way to run an organization in doing that.
Yeah, thank you for the perspectives there, Wayne. And I'll share a few, story or two of my own here, running data centers. I spent 7 years running the largest data center in all of healthcare worldwide. And it was a massive facility. But you had to worry about power. You had to worry about cooling. You have redundant power, redundant cooling, UPSs, a room full of batteries, the security around the physical security around the operation, right? You also had to worry about all that storage, all the capacity planning, spent countless hours negotiating contracts with Microsoft and EMC and IBM and HP and SolarWinds, and the list goes on and on. And we were really proud of that operation. But you had those moments where, okay, a SAN goes down. Well, that's a real problem the minute it happens. And the nearest part is 400 miles away, and you're trying to get a plane chartered to get the part there, while the system's down. It was both exciting and horrible at the same time, right? Joining NextGen and being able to leverage world-class data centers like Amazon, and we build an architecture specific to NextGen on top of that. We worry about managing where we add value, which is the NextGen architecture we add on top of that. And we don't spend a minute worrying about all that. And the other beauty is when something breaks at Amazon, we don't wait for it to get fixed. We actually move to the working part. A server breaks, we leave it. we never go back. Sand breaks, we leave it, we never go back. Yeah, they got lots of capacity. We immediately move the workloads. So it's a whole different concept. And I'll tell you, when I came into the organization and my team, 8 years ago at NextGen, they were used to running their own data centers. In fact, we had about 25 of them. And now we have one vendor, Amazon. But they liked doing it until they saw, wow, I can really spin up a server in about 15 or 20 seconds. Oh, I can allocate a whole bunch more storage that fast. So this whole ability to be agile in the moment, both operationally and at a business level, it's been a home run, honestly. And we have seen about 80 to 100 customers a year move to our hosting business as a direct result of all these benefits that kind of come with it. So appreciate the perspective. I've had my own learnings, and it was my technicians. It was literally jaw dropping the first time I showed them what you could do at Amazon.
Well, I tell you, I do want to add just a little qualifier here. We don't have all of our environment in Amazon. We've got a mix, a hybrid, which is probably a lot of what the NextGen customers have. We consider NextGen as a mission critical. It is our core business application. It's the thing that keeps it running. We've got other things not much on premise. We've got co-location, and we'll go through a process of moving those to places over the next couple of years. So I don't want to make it sound like we're all in just Amazon. I got some applications that are going to struggle to be in Amazon for a while just because they're old and clunky. So, and I think we're doing a decent job of balancing that, and it's not complicated. The remaining infrastructure is so much smaller compared to when we had to keep our arms around NextGen and all of it.
Yep. And we have, right to that point, we have seen customers who've moved NextGen to our hosting and then on their own, without any NextGen involvement, move their other applications into Amazon or other locations. Talking about colos, right? Plenty of ways to go about it. But it's not an all-in. You got to move everything to NextGen's Amazon offering. We wouldn't steer customers that way. We offer it, but it's we fully understand, acknowledge people want to run NextGen with us because we have the access to the application people. We know the product. We specialize in it, but we do offer the ability to run other applications under our security umbrella. Or customers elect to move other stuff into their own. They go purchase their own Amazon stuff and put their non-NextGen applications in that. And then, one other thing you did hit on there was this concept of undifferentiated heavy lifting, right? Why do you want to spend your time worrying about power and cooling and technology breaking? How's that differentiate your orthopedic group or, and all your docs to their patients? It doesn't. Your patients could care less, right? They just want to make sure the information's available to the docs or other methods there. So, Pallav, if you don't mind, just talk a little bit about SQL reporting. Do you feel like a lot of people are worried when they move to hosting, they can't do custom reporting, they can't do store procedure. Just any observations, the kind of thing you guys do. Do you see any limitations of what you can do with SQL at all?
No, there's no limitation on anything that you have SQL on prem versus moving into the cloud. I have almost the same access. I do have admin access to the SQL Server Management Studio, so I can go create users. I can go create store proc, modify it, create views, or modify views. Have access to SQL Active Monitor, so I can see if something is locking or blocking. Then I can engage NextGen, or I can see who is causing that and then talk to that person and not ask to run like big reports on the live environment. So there is and in terms of running queries, I can run queries from the terminal servers, or if you have a direct trust, then you can open a port to one of the servers in your on-prem server, and then you can run like Tableau or Power BI or those kind of environment on that kind of system. That's what we do, like because we have a direct trust and have open ports on a couple of our servers on our side where we run our dashboard system. So I have not seen any difference on the access part for that part.
Thank you, Pallav. And before we go to some of the Q&A for the audience in general, Pallav, you first, and then I'll ask Wayne the same question. Any final points you would like to make that we didn't really cover in the questions we asked you? Just any final thoughts?
I think I had a very positive environment with moving from on-prem to like a NextGen hosted cloud system. Being a small team, and wearing a lot of hats for me, it takes a lot of stress out from my side and put it into NextGen where I can trust them to go back and monitor like terminal servers or databases and those kind of things, and it also helping us with upgrades and taking that lift out. Also, like before, especially on the time of the upgrade where I had to go back and update like hundreds of that client's machines to get updated, I don't have to do that. It's just a matter of updating 15, 20 terminal servers that we have. And also like other ancillary updates that NextGen does, where like made update or formulary update or ICD or CPT and all those kind of things that has to be updated every year. We don't have to worry about that. NextGen does that for us. So it kind of takes a lot of lift from my side. So I can focus on other projects like how to increase revenue and all those kind of things, and helping my providers and senior leadership.
He hit right where I was going to talk, which is really about the people side. I mean, the people, the skill on the team it's the scarce resource we're going to face, that we are facing. So when we're needing more specialty and we got projects that are a bit first of a kind projects, whether it's upgrading this or managing that or whatever it might be, NextGen, I can, there's a bench of expertise there that I now have access to, and I don't have to bring a new person onto my bench for a short period of time or whatever. And it's the people side I see this as a solution for, even though it looks and feels a whole lot like just a commodity hardware. The people layer on top of that, the skill set layer, is a big advantage for me.
Very good. Thank you. And your ICD-10 updates are on the way, by the way. It is that time of year. We're in the midst of rolling those out to all of our hosted customers right as we speak. So the good news, that's coming your way as well. With that, Nicole, I'd like to go ahead. Questions, if you could.
Yes, we have had some questions come through. So to start, let's see. What backup is included with the hosting solution?
Very good. Yeah, what we do, great question. We're actually pretty proud of how we approach this. What we do is we do 93 days of backups. So we do daily backups of the databases, daily backups of the images. We also do 15-minute transaction log snapshots of the database environment. So any, basically transaction logs, right, for SQL. We're grabbing those every 15 minutes. And we keep all that stuff for 93 days. 3 days on high-speed storage, 90 days on lower speed storage, because chances of using a backup after 3 days are practically zip, but they're there. In fact, we, of the 729 hosted customers, we've only once gone into that 90-day backup pool. but we still do it just in case, because there's always that risk that the whole database isn't corrupted, and you're never going to go back and replace a database 90 days ago. But what you might discover is there are some tables got corrupted. You need to do just a table or two, recover that, and you have that. We have that information available should that kind of thing occur. I do sometimes get that question too, hand in hand with that, which is, well, I have to keep data for 7 years. What do you mean you only back it up for 93 days? Yeah, all 7 years are still in the database itself, right? So, it's really the ability to recover the database. So you still have the 7-year retention policy, but we do have the 93 days of backups. The other thing I'll add to it, and this is a very unique differentiating capability we have, and this is a ransomware last resort strategy we've never had to use. But if you know anything about ransomware, backups are mission critical, right? If you're going to recover from a ransomware event, you better have good backups. And the dynamic we do there, not only do we do the normal like .backs of the SQL databases and stuff like that, but we, on top of that, go ahead and we do snap backups to a type of storage that Amazon has called S3. That automatically routes to every data center in a region. So that'll mean your data would be anywhere from 3 to 7 data centers, depending on what region you were deployed in. So we get that level of replication. But the other beauty of snaps is it puts it in a format that Microsoft Windows doesn't recognize. And in fact, Microsoft Windows isn't great with S3. But by doing that, what it gives us the benefit of is a ransomware event running within Windows wouldn't ever even be able to see those backups to encrypt them, because that's one of the big challenges with ransomware. If you don't have your backups isolated, they get encrypted when your primary does. So we've done a tremendous amount. We've never had a ransomware event in 7 years. You have knock on wood, right? 7 years, 729 customers. We rescue a customer from a ransomware event about every 6 weeks. Troy on this calls, we've saved several of his customers over the years. It's not pretty, but we help our self-hosted customers. When I say save from ransomware, it means they were self-hosted and they got themselves in trouble, right? Mm-hmm. And kind of final point I'll make is, we're wishing the best to all of our customers in Florida with a hurricane coming in. And we have sent a note out to folks saying, make sure you have, if you're in that area, make sure you have backups, for your own sake, for self-hosted. And we'll do what we can to help you out should you get in trouble. Where your data center gets flooded, we can bring you, as long as you have your data, we can bring you up in a host environment. So we take all the whole backup, disaster recovery, all those components pretty seriously. So hopefully I answered the question. Other questions?
Dan, yep. Next question. What cyber products are used in the hosting environment?
So when you say cyber product, not sure I'm 100% following the question. So we use a number of things around. So we use Checkpoint for intrusion detection and prevention. We also use proxy from meaning, we don't let customers who are in the hosted network or users in the hosted network can't go out to the social media sites. They can't go out and launch their personal emails because you have risk of phishing attacks, right? You can't go out to sites that are, a lot of international sites that might be blocked for various reasons. And so we do proxy. We basically do an inclusion list. These are all the sites you can go to. With as many customers as we have, we've long since kind of, I think, crossed the boundary of we rarely get a request to add another one, but if you ask to add. So we do all that with Checkpoint. We use semantic endpoint protection, so we're running semantic against the individual devices. And on top of all this, we have DDoS. Amazon natively provides us DDoS protection, so denial of service attacks. That part of what they give us from a security umbrella point of view is that natively in their offering. So there's kind of a stack, what I'd call a layered approach to security that we take. And that's a lot of the value we add, is that whole layer of security that we can take advantage of from Amazon, or we add ourselves, to further harden the environment against any of these kind of cyber issues.
Thank you. Next question. Have you had any problems with custom templates?
So no, it's actually extremely, pretty much everybody has custom templates. I can't remember the last time I came across somebody who didn't have those. And those are actually natively stored inside the database. So a lot of times when customers are looking to move to hosting, they're worried about, what about all these custom templates that I had? It'd be hard for us not to include them, honestly, because those custom templates are actually stored in SQL itself. And when we migrate customers, we pick up SQL, we take a prod database, we create a new environment at Amazon, and then we move the data to it. So we pick up the SQL database, which means by default, we pick up your custom templates and put them there. And then we give you the access to the SQL tools, to continue to develop custom templates. That's where you talk about stored procedures, stuff like that, right? So there's no change in the hosting world compared to self-hosted, and your ability to have or change and do custom template work.
Thank you. Just a couple more. What do most net new customers purchase, hosting or self-hosted?
Troy, do you want to hit that since you're in sales? What do you see most?
Yeah, I mean, anymore, it's kind of for all the reasons you guys were just talking about, is they just want to be that one-stop shop. NextGen, your software, you know what type of environment it should be in, so it's one less thing that their team has to mess with. Buy it from us, get it all from us, we take care of it, we install it, we take care of all of the security measures around it, all of the Microsoft licensing. They're not worried about all the things that was listed, before about, cybersecurity attacks and keeping up with all the different layers of security that they need to. Where am I putting it? I have to buy more. One of the biggest things right now, especially after COVID, is where do I even get the actual physical hardware? I mean, you can't get it. It's a good delay to even physically go get a piece of hardware right now. And some places can't wait. So yeah, most people are wanting just to go ahead, get their technology from NextGen and have NextGen, via our AWS partner, host it for them.
Yeah, what I'd share, statistically, we see 90 to 95% of our net new customers buy with hosting. As far as the existing customer base, we're seeing 80 to 100 customers per year move to hosting. So next year, we'll cross that 50% threshold where more customers will be hosted than not hosted. And that'll open up a whole nother set of things that we'll be doing around packaging, some of the new offerings coming out in future years. We'll be taking more and more advantage of native services that Amazon provides in our code, which means, to take advantage of those new kind of features and functions would require people to be hosting. So long term, we are planning over the next 3 years or so that probably 80% of our customers will be hosted in that kind of window, and that'll continue to grow from there.
All right, last question. Does NextGen plan to make all customers move to hosting?
So there are no plans to make customers move to hosting, right? A little bit of what I just alluded to is the natural order of things is when upgrades get done and things like that, right? It's a lot easier for our upgrade teams to go in and help customers through standard deployments versus, you go into self-hosted environments. Everybody has different security tools. Everybody has different storage types, server types, and it becomes much more complex to do upgrade kind of work. Also, from a speed of R&D point of view, if we can leverage code that Amazon already has, they have literally thousands of services you can take advantage of. We use about 120 of them to give you a sense. You can get into this complex stuff. We can speed code deployment more, leveraging some of those services. So long term, we're not going to make people move, but strategically, there'll be features, functions, packaging stuff around business intelligence. There's a number of things in the works right now. I'm sure more information will be discussed at the user group meeting, which will lead customers to hosting, but not make them go to hosting, is probably how I would look at it.
All right, thank you, Dan. That was it for the question. So thank you to all of our participants, and thank you to all of our speakers. Appreciate all of your time. And this has been recorded, and you will get an email within the next day or two with a link to the recording, so you can go back and listen if you'd like.
Awesome. Thanks. I appreciate TOA, Team TOA. Appreciate you guys taking time to join us and do this. I think it was very informative. And as always, just appreciate you guys, so much.
Thank you.
All righty, folks. Well, thanks again, and have a great day.
Thanks. You too.